Oh, hey there. Hi. Hello. It's been a while. Hi. It's me. I'm streaming again. With some more Roadwarden that I haven't played in absolute ages. Because, you know, the best thing to start my, well, hiatus end, I suppose, is, to read a lot of text. Oh, hello there, little elephant. Hi, how are you? Right. Today, to ease the burdens of reading so much text, I have a friend with me. Hi, Regardmore. Hello. Hi.
Hello, hi. I'll
Yes.
be helping out for a while.
Yes. Because this game has a lot of voices to do. And I figure maybe the women voices will be done by an actual real woman. Whoa. And I don't have to do weird high-pitched voices to voice them.
Now, not throwing shade at your female voices.
Yes, Daunted.
I appreciate I can help. I don't want you to think that you can never, voice them again.
Maybe eventually I can do better voices, but for today, we will have assistance. So, Roadwarden. I haven't played this game in months, and I kind of forgot most of what I was doing. That's good. Thank you, Daunted, for notifying me about the audio. I forgot what I was doing. I caught up a little bit in the journal earlier. So hopefully we don't completely blunder ourselves into some horrible situation, because our memory is faltering. This game, yep. This game is basically just a text adventure RPG kind of game, so we make decisions and we see what happens. So let's this is Regardmore. You can see her. You can actually click her name on the stream title, and it will take you to her channel.
That's next level. Cool. Yeah, I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, if you type @username in the description, it actually links to the channel. Right, so let's get on with this reading thing. The rustling of leaves carries no songs of birds, shouts of apes, or whines of hunted critters. The river attacks its banks with a fierce roar. You get off your palfrey. The cave mouths are connected by paths, stairs, and bridges. You don't see any people, but there's smoke coming from one of the entrances, and you hear muffled thuds of a hammer. The gardens are weeded, the buildings firm. The green trees on the top of the mountain bear red and brown fruits. 2 rounded sticks are tied with a rope to a nearby rock. You grab them and take a closer look. They're claves. I'm not sure what a clave is, but maybe we'll find out. Let's see. Make a few firm hits and shout a greeting against anyone who shows up near the building. I suppose it's like a doorbell then. Playful. I play a tune from a silly counting out rhyme. Okay, so we're at a monastery, so I suppose we should keep that in mind and maybe be respectful. Hide your emotions. I make a few firm hits, then wait patiently. Intimidating. I keep hitting them until someone lowers the bridge. Just smashed into the wall. And vulnerable. Be sad, tired, afraid, or hopeless. I hit them just 3 times, not too loud. Let's see, what's our approach here? Let's announce ourselves, I think, yeah? Sounds like a good idea. I'm sure they'll appreciate me not just kind of smashing their doorbell over and over and then waiting for something to happen. So, I make a few firm hits and shout a greeting at anyone who shows up near the building. The echo of your hits cuts through the swashing stream. After a few minutes, 2 hooded figures leave a cave mouth at the top of the mountain and give you a long look from the edge of the cliff, then walk down the path with caution. You smile and wave to them before they disappear behind the buildings, which are made of bricks, not logs, and are covered with tiles instead of thatch. Now that's fancy. Brick buildings with tile roofs? What are these wealthy monks? Not in these conditions, because everyone else lives in terrible buildings in this area. Little by little, the bridge gets looser. Then it hits the grass gently. The taller figure, now covered with shadows, invites you with a gesture. Hoofy Bug Hoof Face inside. Greetings! Yeah, that is the name of my horse. A Hoofy Mug Hoof Face, yep. That was a great idea, naming him that.
It's all coming back to you.
Yep. My past decisions haunting me. And greetings to ye, he hesitates. His voice is hoarse, but sonorous. Salutations to thou, traveler. He puts his bandaged hand to his waist. You're at Wright's Haven. The greeters take off their hoods. They wear brown, dark, simple worn robes and ropes instead of belts. They've no jewelry or ornaments, just small bags made of fabric on their shoulders. The larger shell belongs to a strong, barefoot man in his 50s. Despite having no weapon, his eyes are audacious and could belong to a mussel standing in front of the door of a harbor tavern. His wrinkles are subtle, but there are only a few tufts of gray hair left on his greasy head. His skin is pale, covered with liver spots, though at a closer look you realize a few of them are just stains left by ink. I look at the second bunk. The girl is about 14, with unsightly acne on her forehead and a robe that brushes the ground whenever she takes a step. Her black hair is tied into a humble ponytail. She observes your horse curiously, cocking her head to a side. But once she catches your look, she meets your eyes boldly, raising her chin as if to challenge you. And she speaks.
This is her speaking. Okay.
Yes.
Thy mount is free to help itself with hay and water. We'll wait outside.
Thou canst stay here for now, but leave before the night. The plague is nearby, the struggle ahead.
While they indeed leave the room, their trust only goes so far. They observe you through the open door. The building is a single storeroom filled with crates and barrels, a stack of firewood and another one of bricks, a pile of straw, a chest, 2 wheelbarrows, and finally the racks, shelves, stools, clothing, and utensils. The light comes from the open gates, accompanied by the sharp draft. I tether Hoofy McHoofface near the water trough and join the monks. The lack of walls makes you feel exposed. A few pairs of eyes observe you from the paths above you, while others either climb to the very top or approach the unremarkable vegetable beds. Most of the dwellers wear hoods, and all of them wear similar worn robes. A chilling wind touches your cheek. I mean, we're not exactly used to cold weather, so maybe we should put on my hood, but then again, I feel like if I'm a guest, I should probably keep my face visible, just so I don't look like I'm trying to conceal something.
Another point to be made is you could be arrogantly showing your face while everybody else is putting face behind a hood.
True, they're monks, so maybe it is traditional with them to not show your face and be humble. I know nothing of these monks. You know what? We're healthy, so we probably can afford to catch some wind. We're not exactly dying here. You know what? When in Rome, do as the Romans. Let's go. I put on my hood. They keep their distance. The man greets you by raising his open palm, wrapped with bandages that disappear underneath his sleeve. His lips form something between a sneer and a smile. What brings thee here? Art thou a go-between? The girl keeps an eye on your axe and occasionally glances at your boot, the one that hides a knife. I'm Mar, the new Roadwarden. Let's see. Who's speaking? The guy.
Let's give it to her.
Yeah, sure.
Good. Well, the roads need their wardens. The folks need their roads. But there are none behind this mountain, and we take care of the one that you've just crossed. Thou dost not need to bother. Thy services are not required.
He gestures for you to wait. But where's the man with the red beard? There isn't enough work here for the two of you. Asterion, I was hoping to find him here. Oh, yeah, the red-bearded guy is probably the previous Roadwarden who I was looking for. Right. Asterion, I was hoping to find him here. I'm sorry to disappoint thee. He rubs a liver spot on his hand. But he hasn't been here in months. He rarely have visitors different than our friends from old Pagos. We don't invite the outside world, and we don't care much for it. Hast thou checked in the belt of the north on the southern road? If he's wounded, it's a safe shelter, I've heard. The girl scratches the ground with her boot, though it remains hidden underneath her robe. The man looks at her with amusement. Looks like Decima here is eager to return to her duties. I'm Ailey, but I'll not shake thy hand. One of us could carry the plague in our flesh. Who can know? Who can tell? What brings thee to our monastery? Let's see. Is there anything you can do about the plague that has beset old Pagos? What can you tell me about Asterion? Do you know anything interesting about the path leading through the heart of the woods? I'm trying to learn more about the local bandits. Do you need any help? I'm looking for a job. They already told me they don't need help. Have some questions about the monastery. They don't want me... Why can't I spend the night here? Necromancers. Oh yeah, there were necromancers somewhere in the swamps, I believe. What do you know about the necromancers in the north? Let's see. Let's ask them about the plague.
But they're so scared of it.
Yeah, well, maybe they still know something. I mean, maybe they just need some assistance. Maybe they can make potions if I gather something for them. Well, his cough doesn't help his hoarse throat. We don't understand what makes it grow. We put it to use all the ingredients we found, brewed as many potions and balms as we could, and they worked for one afternoon. Then people once again fell ill. Who can tell where the sickness dwells? A powerful healer could get rid of it once and for all with a single spell, but no follower of the right in the north carries such talents. I bet it's the water. It's always the water. Let's not be snarky with them. I'll seek a great healer. That sounds like a very vain quest to go up about. Maybe it's time for someone to enter the village and look for the source. I mean, you can't exactly cure a plague without figuring out where it came from, that's for sure. Thou thinkest? It smirks. Oh, you think? Yeah. The well isn't poisoned. The sea brings fresh air. The crops have their regular color. The ibexes drop healthy feces. The tribe isn't dumb. No reason to lock you inside. Let's see, what about Asterion? They already told me he's not been here for months, so probably not much worth asking them for now. What about the bandits? I know they've been harassing, what was it, White March? That's where the necromancers live, I think.
It also is part of your job as Roadwarden,
Yeah.
so they should be agreeable.
Yeah. Then ask in the villages. He looks at the wooden entrance hall behind you. No group is going to bother us, for they've got no understanding of our pneuma and potions. I suppose everyone's just scared of them. They think, oh, these crazy magicians in the monastery with their
I don't
potions.
really think it's like the crazy. I think it's like, who would spend their afternoon with these people when you could literally go anywhere else?
True, and they kind of live in like a fortress. They got like a drawbridge here, and it's like a mountain, so nobody's gonna bother attacking them. Let's see. What about the necromancers in the north? He rubs the liver spots on his forehead with his bandaged hand, looking with one eye at his short companion. This and that. Well, that's not very helpful. I heard I can find them in the northwest. He nods. Head back to the crossroads, then north, then right into the bogs. There you'll find white marshes. Let's see. North then right, okay. The tribe used to Oh, hey, Shal. Hello. Oh, hi. Money. Thank you for the sub again. 16 months already, Jesus Christ. The time. What is time? Oh, God. Right. The tribe used to forage and gather peat, but now it follows Arentius. Their priest, who knows Maybe he's the reason why so many travelers have disappeared on the roads. Decima scratches the ground with her boot, humming a tune, but Ailey tells her to shut up. He carries on with sudden anger. The story is as old as Wright's tablets. Tribes look at monsters and ask themselves, how can we use them? Their pride punishes them into their own fall. They hurt the innocent, then vanish in flames, or awake as empty ones. Yes, very original enjoyer. Any thoughts on Laurentius? He's never been here. He's locked in that hut, a prisoner of his own conscience, speaking to his tribe as to his children. Could there be a darker joke? A necromancer who calls himself a prophet? As he snorts, Decima puts on a wide grin.
What next? An emperor bathing in blood? No follower of the right could survive such a fall.
Yeah, Decima's a jokester, I see.
She doesn't get much chance to be happy.
Yeah. I mean, a teenager living with these monks, I'm sure they need to find some fun activities sometimes, so comedy is one of them. What's your sense of necromancy in general? He pulls his fingers, gathering his thoughts. My stance? I don't need one. I trust the right. The dead makers must be weeded out. Their power brings only fogs. One may think the spellcaster is in control of the shells, but once they lose their breath, the dead are freed, searching for blood. Humans will never control the dead. Oh yeah, I recall something about the fog. It's something that, like, if they don't burn the dead, they will come back to life after some time or something.
I think that sounds right, yeah.
Yeah. How does one deal with the undead or necromancers? Well, is it a single corpse? A squad? An army? Thou needest to learn how shrewd the enemy is. Can it sense thy presence? Can it use a bow or spells? As long as thou art alone, it's always better to run. The older empty ones, even more so than those that weren't awoken by the fogs, yet cunning, human-like, but with cruelty thou hast never seen. I recall fighting skeletons in a cave. When I went to Old Pagos, I made a shortcut, or no, yeah, through some caverns, I think. So it was somewhere here. I think it was through here somewhere. But it was blocked off by skeletons, and I had to fight skeletons, and it nearly killed me. I needed to use ingenuity like traps, but that didn't work well because I'm not very good at fighting. But yeah, undead are vicious. We should probably avoid fighting too much, because the one time I tried being daring, I almost died. Because
You were too new. I don't think you should never.
Yeah. Yeah, basically. I got my taste of fights, and I'm still a scrawny nerd, but I have some experience now. We can assess our fighting potential some other time against more easy opponents, maybe.
Scarecrows.
Yeah. I fought a spider as well and almost died. But, you know.
Oh no.
What was White Marshes like before the priest's arrival? Far from lovely. So it was always a dump, basically. Cool. But now it's a dump with undead. His smirk softens as his eyes grow worried. It's been struggling for years. With food, children, the beasts of the bogs, the traders. They were strangers to us, even in the old days, when they used to join old Pagos in their pagan feasts. He looks at Decima, listens to his tale curiously. But then the monks arrived, and that bridge went down with flames. When the missionaries reached the bogs during the years of war, There were already some wounds that could never be sealed, not even by shared prayer. Yeah, that's enough about the zombies. What bothers ye? Thou. It's like they're trying to sound more proper. It's like, thou, not ye, yes. So what's Asterion like anyway? Let me think. He looks at the sky and clenches his fist around the strap of his bag. The first time he was here, we asked him to find us some iron and gale rocks. The second time, he did bring us a few scraps, but was wounded. A piece of flesh bitten away from his thigh. Said that 100-legged worm had caught him off guard in a meadow. Instead of his pay, we offered him a potion. Anything noteworthy about the iron he delivered? Scavenged from furniture. A few of them were rusty. Who knows where he bought them? We melted them for nails. Tell me about Gale Rocks. He hesitates, but finally nods. Just some seaweed eaters. Their soil is barren, but the strongest of them spend their days on the boats, among the sharp rocks. Those who can't hunt for fish, boil water and make salt. They trade with other villages more than anyone on the peninsula, for crops, wood and meat. He snorts. But they're weak folk, weak and angry, like a wolf beaten and kicked from a pup, loud and ready to bite, but all it takes is for someone to raise their hand. Then it jumps away and whimpers. He lets go of his bag. At least they follow Wright's teachings. Yeah, this game has so much writing in it. It's also really, really cheap. It's like, how much is this game? Like $10? Not even. Roadwarden. Yeah, it's like.
I guess it's like 2 weeks worth of reading out loud.
Oh yeah, it's 11 euros on Steam right now. And so to just show you how long this game is, we're on day 7 of our adventure. I have a total playtime of almost 13 hours, and there's a time limit of 40 days in this game, so it's like 100 hours probably of reading. It's oh, you own it. Awesome. Do get around to playing it. It's a really interesting game. Though maybe limit how much you read it out loud, because it can destroy your voice very quickly.
Oh, also, from this session that it's amnesia friendly. You got some journals and plenty of hints.
Yeah. Look, you can just like read up your quest log. You can read up on the people you've met, and the places you've been, and the monsters that have been mentioned, and everything. So if you take a break, you can just come back and read up on your stuff.
Oh, Rodriguez.
Yeah?
Is there only one game file? Because I hate it when they do that.
I don't believe so. We can check real quick. Hold on. Settings, save. No, you can just save separate slots.
Awesome.
Yeah, the lore is deep, and it's quite interesting, because at first I thought it was like a pretty generic medieval fantasy setting, but it's quite a bit different. And there's a lot of interesting aspects to it. And on the replayability thing, my character is the only one that can read. So I imagine that actually changes my paths quite a bit, because the other options are like a warrior and a magician, or an alchemist or something, and I'm a scholar, so everyone else is illiterate. But at the start you choose your like motivations, you choose your class and stuff, so yeah, that should add just the replayability factor quite a bit. And there's multiple approaches to everything.
I appreciate you saying that because I'm like, why do they keep talking? Like, we need to beat stuff down and cast spells. It's because if we chose a different profession, that would have been what
Yep.
we were doing.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I have a character sheet, I have alchemy knowledge, I'm literate. I got very little combat experience. You get your religion, you get your faith, and like you can keep track of the lies you've
Sewing
told.
experience.
Yep. It's quite in depth. And I think it's like one guy making this game, so it's just crazy.
It's a passion project.
Oh yeah, for sure. Oh yeah, yeah, just get it on sale. I'm sure it can get really, really cheap. Let's see. Okay, we read this stuff. Okay. Oh, hydrate. Thank you. Let's do that.
So it's like almost half an hour.
Oh yeah. I have hydrated. All right. Do you know anything interesting about the path leading through the heart of the woods? Stretch. Stretching. Show my hand. Yep. You see, I have stretched. Ow. Oh, my muscles are like I haven't moved all day.
You asked too much of us.
Nah. While we're at it. Huh?
To stretch.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're right. My brain. Do you know anything interesting about the path leading through the heart of the woods? So we had a quest about that, right? Over here, I think this is the path, so you don't have to go around. And there's like a crazy guy with a crossbow here. And we need to figure out the path. Apparently it's very, very dangerous. I used to, but like all places that belong to beasts, it shifts every year. The only reason why it still has trails at all is that creatures use our roads as their own gain trails. Only a dimwit would try to cross it now. After you ask him if he knows any such person, he takes a deep breath. Well, last I heard, Quintus, the gatekeeper from Old Pagos, is missing. Or dead. He's a brute and an idiot. Can't understand jokes. Can't stand weaklings if thou ever meet him, just smile and let him speak as much as he needs to shut up. He's referencing a game called Heart of the Woods, which is about exactly what he's saying. Do you need any help? I'm looking for a job. Yeah, Quintus is the crazy gatekeeper here. It's like, I don't want to get off. It's my duty to watch it. He puts his hands together and repeatedly taps his fingers. After a few breaths, he straightens up. No. He doesn't trust me enough to give me any job. At least for now. I have some questions about the monastery. And what could those be? Does this place have a name? Or is it just a monastery? It depends on who thou ask. It's the largest temple on this side of Hag Hills, and the only one beside the sacred cave in Gale Rocks. He points at the huge hourglass. Is it right summit? Or the temple of Old Pagos? Or high caves like they used to be for my nana? He rests his thumbs behind the rope on his waist. The tribes come and go. The names shift. For now we all know what we mean by the monastery. What can you tell me about your order? How does one describe the air they swallow? The water they draw each day? Oh, Jesus Christ. That's
Would you like to tag me on this one?
I'll finish this section. His contemptuous yet playful smile makes it clear he doesn't seek your answer. I can tell thee it's not old, but older than thou, and that its monks work and pray, but it's not a place, nor a congregation. Words don't reflect our purpose, for a human tongue is meager and stupid, and so are our ears. He straightens up and puts on a more serious tone. We look for knowledge, knowing we'll not uncover the truth. We study herbs, mushrooms, rocks, and winds. Old Pagos feeds us, and we take care of its orphans. He glances at Decima. Heal its sick, write down its stories. We silence our thoughts, fix our past wrongdoings, seek peace and understanding. I've seen and touched stuff I can't even name, and they were delightful. Tell me about this unnameable delightful stuff. I now find no difference between what I do to keep my shell alive and what to fulfill the right's will. The right being God in this world, I think. Or a god-like entity, I suppose. An old woman without her hood who leans forward while walking exits one of the caves and walks along the rock face, from time to time stopping.
She's not wearing her hood? She's not wearing her hood?
Yeah, maybe she's the leader. From time to time stopping in place to watch the garden. The scar on her face can't distort her kind smile. She might be the leader. Does this place have a leader of sorts? He crosses his arms and takes a look at the cave mouth behind him, then gives you a harsh look. If our prelate was willing to see thee, they'd let thee know. Yeah, place names are always fun. Yeah. I'm willing to prove that I'm trustworthy. Can thee spare the traveler a few moments? Yeah, let's make them take pity. They're not gonna. It's like, trust me. I'm just a very wary traveler. Trust me.
Just a complete stranger.
I mean, at least I'm dressed okay. I suppose my appearance could be better, but I'm not all scraggly like sometimes I can be in this game.
Yeah.
I'm willing to prove that I'm trustworthy. We'll see. Maybe. Yep. Tell me about your faith. Okay. He takes a deep breath, puts on the hood, and closes. He's like gonna recite a story. He's like preparing. Closes his eyes. His voice, while still hoarse, becomes monotone, like a scribe reading a list of the dead. The right is the greatest of souls. The wall of light that protects humankind. The life after death. Those who follow their teachings will abandon their shells. To follow means to guard right's tribe and help it grow in strength and peace. To achieve this goal, one needs to learn and to accept creation and its nature. This allows us to shape matter, souls, and pneuma without turning them against us. To be a monk means to find freedom in right's tablets. To abandon one's ambitions. I serve right's will. I let it build my salvation, and I prepare the tribes for their end. He takes off the hood again. For the first time, you see true gentleness in his eyes. May these words be carried with my blood. So be it. I'm a pagan. I'm a pagan. I don't think the rights actually like pagans. The right followers.
Yeah.
Let's see. Religion. Let's see. Orders
Right in
of
the
Truth,
sacred tablets.
Pagans. Yeah.
Oh.
Wait, right in the sacred tablets.
Oh.
Super papa. The teachings, right, is the only God who fills human shells with souls. Yeah. Sounds about right. Let's look about pagans. Some of them are deemed limited to a single tribe. This is gonna take too much reading to actually remember, but I think I recall the rights not liking pagans. The United Church. Yeah, let's not tell them. Oh, hey, Hunter. Hi, how you doing? Let's respect their faith while we're here.
What? What? Hey! You can respect by acknowledging.
I see. I mean, true.
I mean, gaining their trust is one thing, and lying being the first thing you're doing.
Well, I mean, I suppose they might tell that my prayer isn't sincere, right? So,
Right is making the force rumble.
so, so be it. Yes. Yep. It do be like that. I see. He rubs a large liver spot on his bare hand, piercing you with his gaze. It do be. How does one become a monk? He lets out an amused grunt and claps his hands together. When one needs to join an order, they find the way. It's not aught thou wantest, but the stuff that happens to thee. Get eaten, shall. Get that food in your mouth. Give me an example. Oh, I don't know. Abandon this thy past. Throw thy pet down the cliff and pray. Well, I mean, I'm looking to run away from my past, so maybe let's just abandon all my quests and just settle down and live with these monks. I'm sure nobody will come looking, right? Just, screw my adventure. Let's just chill.
You persuaded me
Yes.
with your gruff and
Yeah.
unfriendly demeanor.
Yes. This is exactly what I'm looking for in my life. You don't find even a hint of playfulness in his voice. After a longer pause, he carries on. Now, I'd like to learn some of your knowledge about the peninsula. No, he sighs. The order protects what it knows, and we seek no wealth. Okay, so if I ask you for some potions, would you just give me something? You remind him of your trade and responds with annoyance. Knowledge brings and destroys the cities. We, he points at two monks who are seeking snails among the garden patches, are responsible for what we bring from our journey. A blacksmith isn't judged by the depths of their swords, but they oughtn't sell them to scoundrels. You calling me a scoundrel?
I
I'll
mean,
show
we
you.
knew he was coming to this, yeah.
Yeah. I use what I learned to protect other people. I just try to keep myself safe. Were you never tempted to do something great with your knowledge? If you believe that there is freedom and peace in understanding the world, it seems strange that you wouldn't share what you know with other people. He's gonna tell me something about misusing knowledge.
The tablets! The tablets!
I must protect the writings and the tablets. Otherwise, they're gonna profane the word and interpret it wrong. Were you never... He's gonna be like, I don't trust you. You can't handle the truth.
Yeah, that sounds like him.
If I ask him about temptation, he's gonna go like, resisting temptation is what this faith is all about.
What I was thinking is, when are we going to talk to Decima alone? Because she's much more agreeable.
Yeah, she's like a free spirit teenager. She has ideas, new ideas, fresh new things to take into consideration. Let's signal our virtue. I use what I learned to protect other people. And thou thinkest our books and studies are going to help thee? Just keep thy shell healthy. Take care of thy pet. Listen to elders. He's really, like, focused on the pet thing, huh? I love my horse.
Got no love for Hoofy McCoo-Face.
Let's return to my other questions. Okay then. What bothers thee, thou? Why can't I spend the night here? Want us to give thee a chest and a weapon rack too? I mean, that would be nice. I mean, I can sleep on a bed of hay or like on the dirt if I need to. Or maybe feed thy mouflons in our gardens. Or ask us to bed with thou. I mean, is that an option? It's not an inn. We respect the hardships of one's journey. I mean, you told nothing of being celibate, so... So we don't scare off the strangers who cross the mountains. But we don't let them wander about and take our time for granted. I mean, I can do jobs. I'm not asking to be, like, treated for free here. I even have money.
Can't handle the job.
Yeah, I have a healing potion, okay. I have 16 whole coins. I have food. Then again, I'm sure they're not exactly lacking food here.
Maybe they have a potion, though. When else are you going to be at a potion specializing place?
Yeah, I think I have a quest to get potion for, like, somebody's daughter. Let's see. Merchant looking for a healing potion. I do have a healing potion, but I think I wanted to have a spare on me. Wait, for the potion, the secret chamber of the dolmen. Yeah, so... Oops. These monks have potions, probably. Or we can go rob a grave, which is just a terrible idea. Because if there's one thing I want to do is anger the spirits of this ancient land. Yep. Maybe he looks at his bandaged hand, makes a fist, then opens it, and stretches out his fingers. Maybe with old Pagos locked, our old rules too shall change.
Wait, Mark.
Yes.
You gotta say bye to Shalom, yes. Shalom,
Shalom, yes. Oh yeah, see, have fun with your Italian food, Shala. Do tell me what you get, so you make me hungry.
Okay.
I probably should have eaten more today than I have, but I'll, like, have a late night meal later. Would you like to barter? Not today. Not before the spring. Our order uses every bottle we make to help the sick from old Pagos, as well as to protect ourselves. Could it bring you dragon bones? Or something that doesn't grow in the mountains? He looks at the steel hourglass hanging from the wall. Taste, softness, tools of murder, we shall crave not. One thing we lack are delicacies we could offer to the sick and weak, but thou wilt not find such a thing in this sad land. I also dabble in alchemy a bit. Can I use your tools to brew? I think I can just leave if I want to. Curious. He puts a bandaged finger on his chin. Back in the day, the order would lend thee its workshop in exchange for thy recipes. But now, he rubs his chin, observing Decima. She shakes her head gently. Is that her talking? No, I don't think so. That was before the war. If aught breaks under thy touch, we would struggle to replace it. The amount of coins may buy us a trader with glass files and bronze or golden tools. Rather, thou must follow the road north, around the lake, until you reach Foggy Lake, a tavern. Foggy makes hard drinks and ciders, and shall have the simpler tools. There also was that one old druidess in Howlers, but she's likely already dead. Oh yeah, I've been to Foggy, and yeah, there is alchemy tools there, but they want my money to use it. Still, I know a recipe for the blinding powder that requires a basalt rock crushed on the top of a mountain. Does it have to be crushed on top of a mountain specifically? That's very inconvenient. Can I get you these trees high up just for a few minutes? There's a new gleam in his eye. I'd adore learning this recipe, for we use basalt knives often, but our prelate won't agree for thy stroll. What's with that italic font? It's like stroll. See ya, little elephant. Thanks for stopping by. Have have a good day. Hope to see you again sometime. Let's see. No use for blinding powder. Yep. I mean, I suppose it's good for scaring off dragons. I don't know. Blinding an animal before you kill it? What exactly do you want blinding powder, weird guy? He looks toward the tiny orchard. The pride makes his voice stronger. We need to be sure thou art a friend of the order, not a threat. A gentle cough. Ahem. We can't let you run into the caves, thou sayest. Okay, so we basically have nothing to do here for now. They just don't like me. Maybe if I come back cleaner. I need to
I think you have to do
bath.
something for Old Pagos because
Yeah.
they're really interested in them.
Yeah, let's walk back to Old Pagos and talk to them again. Huh? Cat's going crazy? Nothing here for now. God. At least something's happening on the pet cam. Okay, nothing here as well. You spot a trail left by a massive beast that trampled through the crops. Tertia opens the peephole even before you reach the gate. You approach the gate and knock at it. She gives you a long look. Huh. Alright. So, this place doesn't really have anything either. I think I just need to figure out... Check on Old Pagos. Yeah, let's go tell Foggy about what's happening. Maybe they will have something to talk about. Let's see, where's Foggy? Far away. Do we have anywhere else to go before... Archie's just going wild in the background. Kiki's like, what's going on? Let's see. There was a druid that I needed to bring a fish from, Empress Carp. Travel to Gale Rock. A fisher named Photios. Oh, healing powers. Okay, let's do this. Let's go to Gale Rocks, talk to Photios, get his fish, and somehow transport a live carp across miles of open terrain.
Why
to
can't
this
you use a
druid.
boat? Isn't this all surrounding a lake?
No, because so let's see, Gale Rock. Where is Gale Rock actually? There. And the druid lives here. And the lake is over here somewhere. Unless it extends the entire way. But this goes through the heart of the woods, which is the very dangerous place that nobody dares cross. One-time use. So we should make efficient use of my time. Let's go to this ford.
What would you
Since-
use the healing for?
For the plague, perhaps. Because potions don't work. Nothing else works, so maybe a healer could work. With magic. Okay, so we're here, so might as well make our way to Gale Rocks and check up on each of these areas while I'm at it. I've never gone that way before as well, so we could have a look at what's down here. Ruined shelter. Yeah.
The insects are gonna slow you down.
As you get closer to the creek, you hear the pained screech of a small beast. A badger is crossing the water, trying to outrun the insects and hide between the blades of grass. You're standing on the southern bank. I don't have any ointments. God damn it. I think I had some, but
Don't hurt Hoofy McHooface.
it'll take some time, but I'll wrap myself up with every piece of clothing I own.
But that won't stop them from attacking your horse.
Yeah, let's go around. The path is barely squeezed between the hills with no signs of settlements or game trails. The grass is too tall and dense to allow you safely ride through the wilderness. You won't reach the other bank without entering the swarm. Is there any other places for alchemy? Tailor, Trader, Mills. Foggy Lake is over there. Doesn't seem like it unless I go through here, I guess, and maybe that way? Or we just go as fast as we can and hope the bugs don't get us.
Are you daring?
Yeah, sure. Let's wrap ourselves up and go. It takes you longer than you would hope for, but you manage to cover yourself with an armor of at least 3 layers of linen, leather, wool, and hemp. Only your eyes and a single finger remain without cover. Why the finger, though? Did it just run out?
I think you did.
Yeah. Once you get closer to the fort, countless creatures beset you, making you instantly shut your eyes. They're striking the clothes, covering your open mouth, and hitting your shell like a squishy, buzzing hail. You ride forward blindly, trying to get out of here as fast as you can, but the insects stick with you for another few minutes. The red marks on your fingers start to burn slowly. Hoofy McHoofface swishes its tail angrily as it turns its head to its left, observing you with one reproachful eye, pinning its ears back. Oh, he's not happy, my horse. You look around to make sure nothing will try to jump on you, and once you decide you're safe, you take off the suit. Unless you find an easier way to protect yourself, the insects will keep slowing you down. Ugh. I need to go to a foggy lake and make myself some ointment or something. The old forest garden. The sparse trees and shrubs grow strong, but there are no fruits left. Only bird nests among the branches and leftovers spread in the short grass. There are some ripe fruits in sight. Yeah, sure, let's get some plants. Maybe I can use them for ointments. A bunch of wild plants. Most of what you find are large apples. Ugh. Not as sour as the wild ones. And some wild strawberries. Yeah, I'm sure my horsey will like these apples. And some wild strawberries. Nice. Picking them takes little effort. The short meadow hides nothing more dangerous than rats, rabbits, mice, and grasshoppers. And with the help of your mount, you can reach the higher branches. Wow, daring, huh? Standing on top of my horse, picking apples.
Don't fall.
Yeah, hope it doesn't get spooked by anything like a mouse or something. Let's see. Travel. Let's look down here. Well, there's daylight. It's probably better to go exploring.
Mm-hmm.
You're not used to the sense of the bogs, but you weren't expecting them to be so gentle. The humid air makes you think of smoked meat, and even though you ride by a few rotting carcasses and animal droppings, just as often you cross tiny meadows of pink, yellow, and red flowers. The noises tell stories of never-ending wars between the swarms of insects, frogs in their hideouts, snakes lurking among the purple grasses. Purple grasses? Wow, this place must look wild. Birds patrolling both the water and the sky, and the saurians preparing to strike from beneath the surface. You can't separate the sounds of the living from those of the dying, if they're even different at all. You reach a boulder in the middle of the road, on the edge of a large pond. The road splits from here in 2 directions, but the only smoke you see is to the southeast. This place doesn't look very safe. Travel south,
Exploring's all about,
east, yeah.
you know, taking that risk.
South or east. Let's go towards the smoke. So south and then east probably. Oh. Archie, what are you doing? Maniac. The leafless plants resemble tree roots rather than creepers, even though they're dark green and sway from side to side slowly. Goofy McGoofface stops without a command, unwilling to approach the nightmarish gate. There is no other path in sight. Boy, I hope these plants aren't the same as that tree that sucks blood in that other area. Your knowledge could be of use here. I recognize the mushroom growing behind the creepers. Once they're gone, I can pick it, but only in the middle of the day. Huh. I wonder if they recede during the day. It's still day though, so maybe not. Hydrate. Thank you. I shall. Hydrate myself with some coffee. As long as it flushes my throat, anything's fine. I pick up some branches and throw them at the creepers. You step among the muds and grasses, but some desperate creatures scrapped this land clean of any wood they could eat. It takes you a few moments before you find any that doesn't fall apart under your touch. Once it hits the creepers, they bend backwards swiftly, then try to reach you with a loud swish, getting a bit longer as they repeat this attempt a few times. You tell your mount to step away, but the plants don't chase after you. Huh. That doesn't sound fun.
They're creepy, those creepers.
Ho 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 ho. I examined the water. The dirty ponds are hard to see through. It takes a few minutes before you find a stick long enough to poke the water and reach its bottom. Even at the very bank, the water is as deep as your palfrey is tall. It's quite possible that none of these conveniently spread paths appeared here on their own. Could it be that the locals carried much of the soil by themselves, connecting the deeper bogs to the other parts of the peninsula? Some sort of ancient irrigation path? Before you have time to dwell on it, you jump back, dodging the strike of a green saurian. You run away so quickly that it gives up its pursuit. Oh great, there's crocodiles in the water too. This place is lovely. Trees that attack me, or roots of some sort. Crocodiles. Knowledge. I recognize the mushroom, okay? That's the same thing. I suppose I can come back here later. Maybe. You can't go through these creepers. Okay, so let's go east. What's this music? What's with these drums? The road takes you to the edge of the woods. A few trees have found lucky scraps of soil towering above the water, while others, shorter and not as lush, have roots sunk in the pond. Some of the plants are felled with tools, so the route itself isn't so dark, while the few sunbeams getting through the weaker branches on your left are surrounded by darkness and swarms of insects.
Help me! Help!
The sudden cry, as well as the screams of pain, reaches you from between the trees. A woman or a child. I dismount and grab my axe. Let's not assume. Or do we assume bad? Nah, they wouldn't.
What?
I dismount and grab my axe. That could be a ploy. It's like, oh, someone's gonna come help, and then they're gonna kill him. You lean toward the pond. It's cleaner than in the other parts of the bog, allowing you to see the bottom. Parts of it are still more than knee-deep, and the sulfuric odor makes you step away with a frown. The brownish color can't hide all the bones and plant remains that are sticking out of the bed. You prepare your shield. I take off everything below my waist.
Ooh.
Oh my.
Ooh.
No time to waste. I rush into the water. Well, rushing into
You're gonna
water
look
with
muddy
clothes.
after this.
Yeah, rushing into the water with clothes on in the first place is kind of bad. And I mean, I would like to keep my armor on, but I also don't want to look filthy and potentially get bogged down by soaked clothes.
We still don't even know if this is a legitimate cry.
It could be some horrible demon of the swamp that mimics children.
Yeah, I was just thinking like, oh, so you just waited until the evening to start crying help?
I mean, it's 4 hours 30 minutes before dusk, so it's still daytime.
Okay.
Let's take off our clothes. You undo your boots and buckles. Oh god. Then hang your pants on the saddle. As your naked skin touches the water, you expect it to be more like a slime, but nothing of the sort happens. Only your eyes and nose notice the difference between this place and a regular pond. The cold water makes you shiver. Okay, so maybe not wearing cold clothes might be good for my health later on. The voice doesn't stop. You gather your bravery and move forward, disturbing the sediment so much that it forms a cloud of mud after every step. You run into the trees. Quick save.
When can I put the pants on?
Yeah. Yeah. maybe the alarmed, scared woman or child will run away even further if they see me coming at them.
Not like this!
Oh god, no! Was there a crazy guy with no pants coming at me? Save me.
I feel like the tree crowns aren't going to deceive you. So if the voice does turn out to be a ploy, at least nature will be like, people actually went by here, or weirdly they did not.
Let's follow the voice for now. Oh crap. It leads you deeper into the trees. You think it's coming from one of the larger plants. With a crown so dense you can barely see anything between the branches. Something lands on your back, and you plunge into the water, getting pinned down to the mud by massive paws.
Oh,
You're
no.
choking, hearing only splashes. I need to get out of the water.
No.
Oh god. You try to roll away, and while the creature is heavy, with large paws and strong legs, you're strong enough to knock it off yourself. You bounce from the ground and dash through the shallow water, smoothly getting back on your feet, still holding your blade. I gasp for air and look at the beast. The cat's legs are bent, ready to jump, wide and muscular. Its eyes staring at you without a blink are round and yellow, with pitch black irises in the center. It's waist high, with its chin hanging just above the water, and a jaw that could bite off your leg in a heartbeat. It has short hair and whiskers, and a nose as big as your hand. Even without the dirt, it's almost black, with glimpses of yellow that form a rose-like pattern on its sides and dots on its head. You can't see the creature's paws through the now clouded water. The cat lets out a growl, like a saw cutting a log. It's unscathed and confident. Okay, maybe let's not focus on the human voices for now. I kinda need to survive. And running away might not be good, because it's gonna pounce on me.
Yeah,
So,
it's got powerful legs, as we learned.
And, let's take a defensive stance. I still have my shield on me.
I think the worst part about this is you can't communicate with the person.
Yeah, I take a defensive stance. When you hear the flapping of wings, it's already too late. Bird talons sink into your shoulder, and once you get distracted, the cat darts forward, reaching for your thighs. Jesus Christ, what is going on? Birds and cats attacking me? God damn, what is going on? You evade it. Or maybe it's somebody commanding them. Maybe these are somebody's pets.
Familiars?
Yeah, hunting. You evade its first strike, but it then pushes your stomach with its huge paw, cutting through the armor. Before you
Oh,
can
man,
reach it
that's
with your blade,
expensive.
it's already out of your range. Yeah. But I'm still unharmed at least. Your fine gambeson keeps you in one piece. The gray bird also flies away, now circling around you, gracefully avoiding the tree trunks and branches. It has a red tail and a short, curved vulture-like beak. It growls just like the cat did a moment ago. And you notice that the human screams have disappeared. Was it the bird and the cat actually screaming? It might have been animals actually mimicking humans.
Saying, help me?
Something that sounded like help me. Perhaps. Let's see, the bird, let's see, gray, it's a gray bird, so it's probably not like a fancy looking parrot or anything. So it's 2 against 1. The cat looks into your eyes, then roars. Whoops. As it moves forward, you don't see any wounds on its shell. Its companion circles around you, looking for an opportunity to attack from above. Here it's probably worth mentioning that shell refers to body in this setting, and not
Okay.
a turtle shell. It's not a
Like
cat.
an armor shell.
It's not a turtle cat of some sort. I try to stay safe, looking for an opportunity to make a precise strike and keep the beast at a distance, playing for time. I run away. Let's see. I don't think I can strike the bird very easily.
Too high.
Not while the
I
cat
thought.
is there. Yeah, it's too high. And if I try swinging at the bird, the cat's gonna get me.
Yeah.
So let's stay safe and not...
Dance.
Yeah. I try to stay safe, looking for an opportunity to make a precise strike. The bird distracts you by pecking at your hair, jacket, and hands. You do your best to evade the cat's attack. Then to strike it as it charges you, but your attempt fails.
Oh.
Even though you also land a hit. The beast manages to reach your stomach with its claws, scratching through your armor, while your old axe cuts the beast's shoulder slightly. Your fine gambeson keeps you in one piece. Okay, so I hurt it at least a little bit. Lighter attacks, oh god, my armor is gonna get destroyed and I'm gonna pay all of my money for it.
All your 16 coins.
Yeah, at least I still have a healing potion.
That's true.
Struggling, I push it away with my axe, then prepare for the next clash. The cat looks into your eyes, then roars. As it moves forward, you hardly see any blood on its shell. Its companion circles around you, looking for an opportunity to attack from above. I keep the beast at the distance, playing for time. That's not gonna...
The bird came down to get your
Yeah.
eyes, so I think we can attack the bird.
Yeah.
I also think keeping the beast away is a good idea, because we don't have a Gambison much longer.
Yeah. Hey, Opalion. Hi, how are ya? I keep the beast at a distance. Let's... Actually, let's try and attack the bird. You wait for the bird to dive at you. Then take a swing, using your time to get further away from the cat. The blade sends the halves of the raven-sized creature into the water. Oh, dang. I just sliced it in half. To the enjoyment of the local scavengers. A few gray and red feathers are drifting next to you. Awesome.
You saw
raised
that?
the
You could do
axe.
that. That's gonna be you. That's
Yeah.
gonna be you, cat. You keep messing around.
My axe is sharp. I mean, it's not that easy to just straight up chop a bird in half with a single swing. I'll raise the axe and look at the cat. The cat roars towards its dead companion, then looks into your eyes. As it moves forward, you hardly see any blood on its shell. Yeah, so it seems they weren't, like, they had some sort of sense of companionship between them. Because it would have disregarded the bird if I just chopped it in half. Okay, let's keep it at a distance. Playing for time. You keep your distance, then duck as the beast jumps at you. So far, your reflex is beyond reproach. After a few breaths, the cat prepares itself for another pounce. Let's hope it's not too patient. Oh. I suppose I'm dead. Maybe? No? The cat observes you with new respect, surprised that you're still standing. It looks at its dead companion and without a second thought, leaps away. Interesting. I was gonna say it's like it did a funny here. Then partially swims, crossing the pond with a speed matching your palfrey's gallop. You consider following it, but after it reaches a tree crown with just 2 jumps, and gets you another one within a single breath, you wipe your forehead and turn away. Gasping, wet and frustrated, you hobble back to the beaten path. Hoofy McHoofface seems worried, and you try to ease its soul with a few encouraging words, hoping it will leave you alone for a minute. You wash your skin, then put on your dry clothes. At least your boots won't give you a cold. That's interesting. So the beast wasn't actually
Definitely
interested.
the bird, yeah.
It's intelligent. To some significant degree, it seems.
I think the bird may have made the call.
Maybe? Well, the bird is dead.
When we were chasing after the human voice, it was alive.
Yeah.
That's how they get people these days. That's why you couldn't tell whether it was a woman or a child. It's just some kind of high-pitched something.
Yeah. Well, I suppose we can keep going.
You're still half naked, right?
No, we put on our clothes.
Okay.
Let's see. God, we're
Tag
filthy.
team?
Our clothes are destroyed. Yeah, sure, you can read this for a bit.
Okay. You ride along shallow waters on one side and flooded trees on the other. You reach what seem like the end of the road. The turn south is already overgrown, most likely abandoned after it was devoured by the bog. But as you look north, you see a wide clearing that, with time, has become a meadow, and a lonely hut at the end of an often traveled path. At first, you ride down slightly following the twisted trail. Your palfrey takes slow steps forward, fighting the dense mud left by the recent rain. There's plenty of puddles around, as well as brown, gray, and purple grasses, but all of them are too short for any lurking predators, and the few foxes you see far away don't pay you any attention. You pass by the fresh tracks of heavy, hooved beasts, but spot no wild game in sight. Your ears can't free themselves from the birds, rodents, and dragonflies.
Interesting. So you should probably check out the hut and see if there's anything worthwhile there. Maybe there's somebody resting there. Or maybe it's a good resting point for us in the future. Maybe we can rest there on the way back.
I'm up for human civilization.
Yeah, maybe there's a bath. You smell of sweat and dirt. Cool. We need to ride carefully.
Friendly man.
If Hoofy McHoofface's leg sinks into the mud, it may get broken. That would be very, very unfortunate. Can't exactly treat a broken horse leg in these conditions.
And Hoofy is so loyal to us.
Yeah, Hoofy's like our
best friend.
our family, yeah. Like, how am I gonna like carry my stuff and like travel and just... It's important. Let's see. I think Hoofy's a girl. I think that's what I recall. Let's see. We need to ride carefully. If Hoofy McHoofface's leg sinks into the mud, it may get broken. Oh.
The farther north you ride, the shorter the grass gets. These vast peat fields, broader than 2 or 3 villages placed side by side, are many years old. The turf bricks surrounding the solitary hut are still fresh, drying in the late summer light. The scent of this area is like that of no bog you've ever encountered. Instead of a sublime aroma of healthy soil, it's intense, sulfury, leaving an almost sour taste on your tongue. The short scarp is dripping with water, like a running sore of the earth carved with spade and muscle. The house, made of birchwood, dried turf, and a blanket of soil, is a structure you're not too familiar with, but you imagine its interiors are much smaller than they appear to be. The walls are a few feet thick to keep in the warmth, and such roofs tend to get soggy until they collapse after a decade or so. The only soul in sight is sitting on the bench, stuffing his mouth with fistfuls of green leaves that he takes out of a small basket placed on his knees.
Ah, just a guy munching on some leaves. Cool. Let's see what he's up to. There was a smell of sulfur in the bog earlier as well. Yeah. Introduce myself, and for now, stay in the saddle.
Still chewing, he mutters something in response, then shakes his hairy head, swallows, and puts the basket away. He stands up and takes a single step forward, approaching the edge of the scarp. His arms are entangled by green creepers longer than he is tall. They rub against the ground after each step, and judging by the way they occasionally twitch, they're very much alive, even though you can't see where they originate from.
Mar, the Roadwarden.
He repeats, this time clearly. He moves his sealed lips left and right as if he's tasting your name,
Yeah.
still not sure if he should swallow it or spit it out.
Your face is familiar, but not this.
He points at your mount, staring at it for a good minute. His voice is quiet and young, not older than 30. If you were standing next to each other, he would be almost a head shorter than you, but for now, he towers over you. He has sunken cheeks and sloped shoulders, and while his gray woolen robe was never pretty, it's now close to being a rag, and his sandals reveal long toenails.
Right, he knows me. Somehow.
And is it the old Roadwarden? No, not the...
No,
Maybe?
The old one was supposed to have a red beard. I don't think this guy has. He seems some sort of...
And he's too young to be that
Yeah.
old.
Yeah, and he's like a druid or something. Probably he's got like creepers on him. Like vines sticking
Take
up
your
of him.
sharp toenails somewhere else with that tone.
Damn hippie. He knows me, but not my horse for some reason. That's
He
interesting.
knew you when you were a kid? No, he's too young. It's so confusing.
Yeah, I'm intrigued. I observe him more closely.
His eyes are as brown and dark as the grasses of his very bog. His left earring is made of a tusk and a feather, while the right one is an hourglass made of silver, though a broken wing makes it at all times tilted under its own weight. The leather strips on his wrist and ankles hold beads, pieces of amber, old game dice, and tiny skulls of birds and critters. Even more cords are hanging from his neck, some of them so long they reach his stomach. They carry countless amulets, some of them torn, dried, shabby, or fragmented, and you spot among them small boxes made of wood and bone, as well as leather pouches, which hide even more secrets.
Oh man, this guy looks traveled. Were you here before? Mayhap I dreamt you in my sleep.
His voice and look are absent.
If so, I'm Thyrsus, the Turf Warden.
Hey!
This is my turf.
The universe is coming together! The sequel to Turf Warden and the
Turf
Road
Warden,
Warden!
yeah. he takes care of the turf, the grass. Let's see. Meanwhile, I just walk around the roads like a loser. Is warding turf difficult? I run my eyes over the wet scarp. Shouldn't you ward your home out of here? The earth beneath it is going to collapse. Yeah, very funny guy. Dreamt. Those leaves are probably drugs or something. He's just straight up eating marijuana leaves by the fistful. Wake up while I'm here, Tharsis. We have things to discuss. Or, I keep looking at the creepers dangling from his sides. I hope I'm not bothering you, Warden. I need some guidance through these bogs. Let's see. Playful distance. Dreamt? That sounds a bit rude.
Yeah. You don't need to be not making friends with the guy that has creepers for arms.
Yeah, he's gonna like grab me like some sort of
Strangle you from 9 feet away.
throw me out of his turf. Is warding turf difficult? Maybe he can tell me how to take care of those other creepers too. Sure, let's be friendly. Is warding turf difficult? Yep.
He looks at you in silence, then yawns loudly. His teeth are yellow, but don't seem to be neglected, at least from this far.
It's hard, for it's boring, like a toad song.
He sighs.
Here off the main road, stranger. What for? Some plants are blocking the way to White Marches. How about the road south from here? Do you live here all by yourself? I found a scrap of land that I think may be cursed, though I'm not sure how to examine it. It's probably this village over here. That's like has a miasma on it. Yeah, sure. Let's solve the immediate problem of those creepers down there. With a horse and no guide, you'd get swallowed in no time by monsters and the mud.
He raises his hands, wagging his fingers as if he's casting a spell.
Ugh.
Or casting a curse.
My green pets keep the troublemakers away, but I can make an exception for a warden, one willing to prove they bring gifts, not troubles. Oh boy, sure I hope I didn't kill one of your friends earlier with my axe.
Oh no, I didn't even think about that!
I mean, green pets, so maybe he's talking about the creepers.
Do you know how the Warden game be? I was trying to protect people!
Yeah. What's the toll?
He reaches for his basket and places it on the lower edge of the scarp, crouching right behind it. You look inside. Indeed, it's filled with wild leaves, flowers, and berries.
Give me enough for a day or so, and I'll bend the vines for a day or so. These wild roots and leaves are not much, but they give you a lot of them. Like, I have so many.
Braggart.
I got so many berries, dude.
I'm just filled with berries.
Let's see, how much food do I have? Can I spare any? So I have 6. That's quite a few.
But that's like, aren't they dried? They're different from fresh, wild.
Yeah, but does he want berries or does he want food?
If you want the toll, I think you should meet the stipulations, but...
Yeah, give him a lot of berries. He purses his lips. Yeah, you keep reading.
It's okay.
Yeah,
He purses his lips, his toes flinching nervously.
You think can I find those by myself? Fine, go ahead.
He mutters with resignation, and you throw in enough fruits and leaves to fill up his basket. He snaps his fingers.
Done. Well, I mean, I saved you some labor, jerk.
You weren't supposed to be so keen about filling up the basket.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe we can still find what's going on back there before sundown. And maybe we can rest here afterwards. Hopefully. I found a scrap of land that I think may be cursed, though I'm not sure how to examine it. And you're saying the rest from the north isn't cursed?
He lets out a chuckle, but seeing how you still wait for his advice, he raises one of his creepers and, looking in the distance, scratches it.
I have no cure for that. But ask Eudocia, the witch from the other side of the woods, far east. Mayhaps she has a wand or something. Huh, Eudocia. Well, I haven't even gone far to the east. I don't. Okay, I actually have, but it would take forever, so I might have to take a long path. And you live here all by yourself? Yep. Warlocking, peddling, guarding turf. My tribe dug out what they can this summer. I just keep dragons away from squashing the bricks.
Your
Hey.
eyes turn west.
Momo, hi, hello, how are you?
Your eyes turn west, following the man's raised finger, and you indeed notice a distant trail of massive three-fingered footprints, now turned into small puddles. They're as long as your torso, with pointy claws, one of which appears to be broken at its tip.
Oh boy, claws as long as my torso, lovely. Right. Did you choose to move to this field? Or were you forced to do so? How's your day, Momo? Yeah, today I'm having a tag team reading session with Regardmore here, so my voice doesn't die out after a long break of not streaming. So it's fun. And I don't have to do the female voices. I raise my... Let's see if he has anything. Do you have anything to sell, Warlock?
He eagerly smiles and steps away, reaching to the doorknob with his right creeper.
Odds and ends. Want to buy a hook? Venturers love those, and I've got it for cheap.
He doesn't give you time to respond.
On most days, I brew and mix stuff for poison and medicine. If one's desperate enough to cross the bogs for it, I have one that withers plants, and one that kills worms and bugs, and one that keeps flies away for better health. Ooh, I might be interested in that one.
You're quite sure that you're more than capable of making all the balms and powders he just mentioned on your own, if you had an alchemy table at hand. You mention it, and he huffs loudly, already standing in the threshold.
You're not touching my tools, Warden. But I made some woodwort or marsh bills for you, and there are mushrooms in the bogs. A bone hook.
Get out of my kitchen is just the general theme around here.
Yeah, everyone's protective of their stuff. It's like, not gonna let some random guy walk in and use my tools.
Not my fine china.
Bug killing ointment. A bug killing ointment, a repellent. Withers the plants. Do I? I feel like I recall plants needing withering somewhere.
Can't hurt to have one.
8 coins.
Well, it
though.
is half of your coins.
Yeah, I'm gonna get this hook. 3 connected bones meant to use as a grappling hook. If I have a rope, I might have some use for climbing.
You need to mug a monk and take their belt.
Yes. Maybe I can do a heist in the mountain monastery.
Yeah, and then the gates will open to let you right back into the other side. It's good. It's all good.
Yep. Let's buy this. Hey. I bought a bone hook.
Don't get too hooked.
Let's keep this in mind, the withering dust.
Okay.
But not spend all my money. Ooh, carbonara.
He stretches, yawning subtly.
Have you got any ingredients I could use? Powdered basalt, that's expensive, jeez. Healing potions. Oh, I could buy a couple of these. I suppose one of each, so I can make some potions and go back to that other guy for his daughter with the healing potion.
It is really nice that you don't have to be on a mountain if you're just willing to give 10 coins.
Yeah. No weird magic, it's just basalt you find on the mountain, I guess. Or maybe... I suppose it's already powdered, so... Let's buy one of these. One of each of these. Uh-huh.
What? Oh, that's you.
Yeah. What else? Let's see. But how do you avoid wild beasts? It's them who avoid this place. They're afraid of spears, my plants, and poisons.
Seeing your frown, he raises his creepers quickly, waving them like a dancer would scarves. Yet his arms remain still.
They're stronger than muscles.
He simply explains.
But still, I'm not much of a wanderer. Can you teach me this creeper stuff? This sounds awful.
I want to have turf
awesome,
warden
man.
powers.
Let's go. Yeah, watch out for my creeper stuff. Woo, woo, woo. Just swing them around, like, do a little dance with them. Creep people out. Do a party trick. Okay, so I do have some rope. I do have crossbow quarrels. But I do not have a crossbow. Where did I find these? He's not gonna let me use his alchemy table. And I suppose he sells this peat or trades it. Is peat really worth constant overseeing?
He looks at the nearby bricks and frowns, as if he's seeing them for the first time.
Sure. Kind of, I think.
You ask him to tell you about them, but he admits it's the others who harvest it.
I meant to pile it all up into rickles.
He points at a small dolmen-shaped structure.
But I'm always so busy.
He grins. You ask him what turf is good for, and he starts to tap his toes.
You can build with it, you can burn it, add it to the soil, and it's great for smoking meat. We used to dig it slowly and barter it for stone and timber, but we changed our ways. Boil it, mash it, put it in a stew.
Hey!
Did you choose to move to this field, or were you forced to do so?
He reaches toward his chest, rubbing a small tusk nervously.
One of us surely likes to ask questions, while the others got work to do.
His voice is colder than soil.
Well, alright then, jerk. Go and wiggle your tentacles. Or whatever you do over here.
I'm trying to give you sympathy, man.
Yeah. Alright, well, he said he won't let me use it. Unless maybe he'll give me a quest. Of course not!
He spares you an incredulous glance.
What would I do without it? If you bones to spare, take him to Foggy, by the Northern Road. She brews hard drinks, may let you play.
Everyone knows about Foggy.
Yeah, Foggy sells everybody booze, I imagine. They're like, oh man, Foggy's booze is the best. Right. I don't think I need the ointment just now, because we're already on the other side of the bug river. I wonder if he trusted me more if I wasn't so filthy.
I think you're right at home with the turf warden who has long, overgrown toenails.
Yeah, so let's go to these creepers. I remember there were mushrooms. Man, 1:45 before dusk. If I go through here, I am very likely to spend the night on the other side of these. Let's make sure I don't have any, like... I have shelter. Seek shelter. It's too dangerous to stay here. You can't sleep here, but there's still time to travel to a safer spot. Yeah, let's...
A fresh mold covers the...
Yep.
A fresh mold covers the abandoned cart, and as you get closer to it, a small mouse springs out of one of the boxes, disappearing between the blades of grass. While there's many edible plants in sight, they aren't ready yet for picking.
Maybe if I come back here in like a couple of weeks, I can
A few more
harvest.
days.
Yeah. I suppose it's a repeatable harvest area. That's nice. Where am I actually? Okay, I was worried that it would have taken me past this place. Seek shelter. Oh.
It's too dangerous.
Oh man. Foggy Lake, huh? How far is Foggy Lake? 2 hours 15 minutes.
Better make it before nighttime, I guess.
Can't get here. I can do here. Could still be used as a stop for travelers. Can't, yeah, I can't seek shelter.
The shelter hasn't changed much since your last visit. New leaves are crowding the ground. The grass climbs up the walls, slowly.
Okay, so Foggy Lake is basically the only place I can go here. I can't actually get too foggy though. That's unfortunate. Where do I sleep then?
Yeah.
Travel. I suppose if I do that, that happens. Huh. It's nighttime.
You hear a commotion coming from the lake, drawing your eyes to the air bubbles and water ripples. After a couple of moments, a scrap of the lake turns red. There are new wares near the cart, either recently left there or prepared to be taken away. The tavern staff stops their discussion by a basket to welcome your arrival. Did somebody just die in the lake?
Well, I know there's crocodiles in there, so hopefully they're just hunting or something and not dying. Let's not think about it, I suppose. Just enter the tavern.
Is that how you start your mornings, Mark?
This is still nighttime. This is how I end
It's
my
a bad
days.
day for me when I hear somebody being eaten by a crocodile. First
Not
thing
my-
I hear when I wake up.
Well, it's not like I can pull them out of there, can I?
The place is messy, but quiet and warm. Foggy looks at you through the hole leading to the attic. She gets down. Having only one arm doesn't seem to hinder her. She welcomes you with a gentle nod.
Let's go do some alchemy and see what we can
Which
make
mixture
here.
would you like to learn more about?
The sharpening poison. Oh wow, okay, so I can just do drugs to enhance my senses. Withering dust for removing bushes and shrubs. I can just make
I already
this stuff.
got that.
I didn't buy it, but I can apparently make it. What do I need for this? I don't have everything.
A yellow dust that's meant to wither any plant. To use it, you should spread it on the ground near the roots, then sprinkle it with water. It doesn't take a lot of dust at once, so a single bag will be a decent supply.
Oh, so it's not a
Foggy
single
stew.
use. Yeah. One dragon
One-
bone, huh?
Oh, I have company. Sorry.
Alright.
The recipe requires a piece of flower-shaped driftwood, a
Oops.
bog friend picked in the middle of the day, and it's prepared for 1 hour. I think that's a delivery more than a guest.
Yeah. Oh, Okay, so alchemy is more magical than just like combining ingredients. Because like it has to be a flower-shaped driftwood? That's weird. And bog friend picked middle of the day. I think I remember there being something that I pick in the middle of the day here. So maybe that is a bog friend that I can get. Maybe I can save myself some coins by making myself a potion or powder myself.
I'm going to attend to
Okay.
my front door, so
I'll
be back.
Yep. Alright. The malm you know of won't be enough to make the insects leave the water bank, but once you put it on your skin, they should cease their bites. You can easily make a whole jar at once and share it with your mount. 2 food rations for Foggy for this one. Oh, it's too dark for actually making this. Okay. I can actually make a healing potion. Healing potions may be the most desired liquid in the Dragonwoods, especially among the travelers, hunters, and fighters. The ones you've followed so far are capable of keeping a soul on the verge of death, though it won't fix a freshly cut off limb, nor cleanse one's shell from an illness or poison. It can only be used once. Two dragons. I still have quite a few coins. Bunch of marbles and a bundle of blank wound mort. Use the first recipe. You chop and grind over 24 of various herbs into green pulp, making an ointment with a strong wound-worthy smell. Then mix it with the juice of carefully squeezed marshmallows, clean of any seeds and peels. So far, so good. Then you spend long minutes at the table, constantly keeping the liquid on the brink of boiling, every now and then lowering and raising the small cauldron that hangs above the flame of an oil lamp. The boredom bites your fingers, but you don't have the time to go grab some water to drink. You think of the alchemists who spend day after day repeating this procedure in their workshops. Hardly a tempting vision. At least the room is now filled with a pleasant aroma, and according to what you hear from the conversation that took place upstairs, the smell reaches the main hall as well. You pour the grass-green liquid into one of the earthenware bottles, then seal it. The potion is ready. Nice. I clean up everything and step away from the table. I think I don't need anything from Froggy right now, so I'm gonna sleep. And also, I'm just gonna avoid having to voice her for now. Sleep. Rent. 2 rations or 1 money. That'll make me absolutely filthy. You'll have plenty of space and many of furs to choose from in the attic. The staff will help you take care of your mount's filth. Yeah, I can heal up what I lost by not resting as I traveled, I suppose, and maybe I can take a bath afterwards. The shivers make you wake up. Foggy is standing by the open door, letting the dense fog in, with her back lit by a lantern. While she breathes slowly, her eyes are keenly observing the area, and after you focus, you hear the distorted sounds of roaming saurians. Fogs tend to get more common in late summer, but the tribes of the Dragonwoods often see them as a bad sign. The wild spirits they carry are believed to impact both the visible and the invisible, and not in ways that help humankind. I sigh. If there are any undead in these woods, the fog will strengthen them. Oh boy. Well, let's not approach the undead village for now, I suppose, and go down into the creeper area here. Next day. People stay away from you. Oh, lovely. I'm absolutely filthy. Just caked in mud. You notice it while you undress. One of your recent wounds is going to leave a mark. Uh-oh. I first notice it by touch, then see it in the reflection on my blade. A long cut on my cheek. The deep cut in my hand still hurts, especially when I make a fist. I manage to ignore it, but the cut on my leg hurts with every step. Guess I have yet to choose where my cut is. Okay. The bruises on my stomach look like a night sky. Why would I care? It happens to all travelers, given enough time. Let's just keep it clean. I sure hope I'm not getting an infection in one of my wounds here. Listening to the grunts of the annoyed Hoof face makes you feel uneasy. But at least the furs covering the floor are helping you relax. You don't even notice when it's already morning, and while the smell coming from the lower floor is not inviting, at least it's not you who has to take care of it. I approach Foggy. She turns towards you and waits for you to speak. Does she not have a bath here? I'd like to eat first. Let's
I'm
just
here to
get
be
to...
Foggy.
Yay!
Yay!
She stretches out her arm and grabs a bowl. She's like a gruff woman.
Give me a moment.
You sit down at the clean table. After a moment, the keeper brings you a bowl of flat gruel, another bowl with fish soup, and a soft-boiled egg. Wow, that's a nice meal. Once you're done, Foggy packs the leftovers for you as a snack for the rest of the day and mentions that you've already paid for another 0 meal. Oh yeah, I prepaid for a bunch of them. Awesome. Let's see. I bring news from old Pagos. They're not good. Listening to your tale, she rubs her forehead.
Well, not what I was hoping to hear, love, but I'm glad you went there. Better warn the other settlements. Folks should know before they send their own messengers. It's going to be a rough few seasons for all of us.
Hey Prithby. Hi, welcome back. Yes, it has been a while. Hopefully now that I've started streaming again, I can maintain some sort of schedule and keep streaming. Especially since I basically don't have to worry about uni anymore. She pulls out a dragon bone from her pocket and tosses it in your direction.
Here. Good job.
She steps toward the ajar door and looks at the lake. Want me to do anything else? She scratches the stump of her missing arm. Her powerful voice carries a hint of a threat.
I need a soul who can handle a delicate task. And I'm not sure it's you, dear.
Hey, I chopped a bird in half once.
I wasn't there.
I can handle myself. Yeah, well... I suppose there's a downside of VTubing that I can't be quite as emotive, but I also don't have to be presentable, so, you know. Gotta do what you gotta do. Also,
join the Discord.
Yeah. Kiki, goddammit. She's like sleeping, but just out of camera shot, so you can't see her, but she's sleeping on a shelf. Kiki, sleep on the bed for the people. It's like... He knows she's being filmed. I can just... She's consciously hiding. I just know. Is there a bath here or something? Because I'd like one. Then again, if I'm going into the bog, maybe it doesn't matter. I have 13 hours. So, plenty of time to explore, hopefully. Don't think I really need to buy anything, so, it's time for me to go for now. And go outside. Mira is fine. She's just snoozing on the bed as usual. You can see her here. And Kiki is also quite fine. She's snoozing just out of camera shot on top of a shelf. Archie has gotten used to completely now as well to living here. He still had little scuffles with Kiki, but I think that's just how their dynamic is gonna be. But he's awesome. He's a snuggle face. My baby. let's go travel. And oh man, they've closed up already. Okay, so one day was basically overnight and not actually 24 hours. I'm gonna file a complaint with this guy. Hey, what gives? Oh yeah, while I'm here, let's go here, see if my fish trap has any fish in it that I can sell. No, you should go do that. She streams every day. The gentle wind is swinging the willow's twigs. 1, maybe 2 more years and their tips will pierce the brook's surface. The statue stands in all its glory, observing the road and those who use it. The coin you left in the wooden bowl is no longer there. Huh. I consider washing myself in the stream. I don't have any soap on me. Yes, I suppose I should wash myself at least a little bit. The brook would hardly cover your feet, but you could sit on the pebbles and splash yourself with water. The oak ash soap you own can help you get cleaner. Sure. As you wash your sweaty skin, Goofy McGoofy squashes its first and looks for intruders. Okay, might look presentable now. I consider washing myself. Let's not wash myself anymore. Let's see if the fish trap had any luck. Oh. Foraging grounds and the cabin. I think I fought a spider in there. Okay, let's go talk to this jerk again. And, oh wait, it's the path to White Marshes. It's where the zombie people live. Well, might as well go talk to the necromancers and see what's that all about, right? And you know what you need when I need you to do. He smiles and reaches for his basket. I've barely been watching anime at all. Oh. Alright. Right. I think my voice might just be at excessive reading limits for now, so I might swap games in just a moment, but stay around because I think I'll keep streaming for quite a while still today. And also Regardmore here has to go in a bit, so I don't even have my tag team comrade.
It was fun. We got to live a whole day in Roadwarden together.
Yeah. Thank you for assisting me in voicing the woman and also taking over for reading for a while.
Yeah, that was the plan.
Yeah, that was fun. Maybe we can do this again sometime.
That sounds good to me. You have a good time with your games. I got the rest of my weekend in real life to go to. But I'm so happy you're not. I get to be part of the Roadwarden legacy.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I've been meaning to play this game again for ages, so finally. Good right. Chance to do it. Alrighty then.
Cool.
Bye.
Bye everyone.
There we go. I am now alone. I face the game and decisions. Right. Well, a food ration be fine. Very fine. He licks his lips. And once he spots a piece of jerky among your gifts, he reaches for it right away, with a full mouth. He snaps his fingers and mutters something with satisfaction. Alright, time to go see what those people have going on. Also, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. That's a very good show. Maybe I should rewatch it at some point, because I haven't seen it in probably 10 years now. It's been quite a while. Travel. The creepers. Middle of the day. It's not middle of the day yet. My favorite anime, good question. I've seen a lot of anime in my day. Something like Girls Last Tour. Am I back? My OBS died, I think, or was it my stream? I'm not sure what happened, and I'm not sure how long it's been, but I'm alive. I think. That was annoying. Right, so where was I? I came into a zombie village. Hopefully everybody heard me read that stuff. Yeah, we got some really creepy villagers here. Them being undead, being used as manual labor. I suppose you don't mind too much being dead and all, but it's still a little bit unsettling. There's only a few breathing souls in sight. They observe your passing, but keep their distance. Let's see, is my stream actually functioning this time, or is still dead? Okay, it's still going. Lovely. Okay. I don't have to throw my computer out the window in anger. Yay! I hope I wasn't away for too long. Don't ping again, you stupid. Ah well. Hopefully if anybody left while my stream crashed, they can come back in. They aren't attacking me, so don't need to be afraid. The people who live here seem to have everything under control. Man, I hope my VOD is gonna be not broken, because it crashed mid-recording. Should be fine. It's let's see, this is 3:30 or 5:20. No, I don't think it did. I suppose I'm gonna have to download the VODs off of Twitch and then edit them into a single file and then upload them later. Lovely. Anyway, the guards let you in without questioning. The entrance and the wall in general were recently constructed, though are still not finished. There will soon be yet another gate, allowing for trade and conversations without opening the village to danger. This place seems to be doing well for itself. Probably due to all of the undead labor they're using. Just like in the fields, the work is divided between the undead, who carry bricks and take care of the most thankless tasks, while the locals cut rocks and spread mortar. The difficult past is still carved in the villagers' gaunt faces and crude outfits, and their brief glances show little curiosity. A few of them are sharing a meal right next to the well, and the victuals in their baskets consist of green leaves, fruits, eggs, and cuts of roasted meat, the food of foragers. You're told to wait here for the mare. Don't roam on your own. The guard's voice is harsh, despite the stutter. I tutter a hoofy McHoofface at a small shed. The man shows up soon after, with a careless saunter, and he hardly spares you a look, instead of staring at your palfrey. The stranger from the forest garden. I cannot guess why you would come here. Who are you, even? His stature would be considered average in most villages, but in comparison to the rest of his tribe, he is portly, muscular, tall, and with a large square face. His hands are resting on the shaft of the poleaxe placed across his shoulders, making him seem even larger. His long, straw-colored beard is shabby, and makes his bald head look shiny. You can't really tell how old he is, though you see no wrinkles. Just like the others, he's wearing prominent charms, favoring tiny figures of animals made of bone and wood. Only one of them is hanging from his neck, a silver amulet portraying the head of a moose with large antlers. While valuable, it looks older than the other critters and quite crude in form. I introduce myself. He sizes Yosp. And I am Helvius. Who let you in? Was it Thyrsus? He's as much as a gatekeeper as a fly's warden to a piece of shit. He gives you a telling frown. What you so mad about? Is there a problem with me being here? You don't want a Roadwarden in here? Friendly. Be supportive and cordial. Playful. Use a joke and witty comment. Let's see. Who knows? I half whisper. Maybe I got here all by myself. Chop those creepers into a salad. I'm not one to badmouth others behind their backs. I'm sure he realized I may be of use here. I smile. What's your tone? I shrug. He could tell you it won't hurt you. Let's not be a smartass. I'm not one to badmouth others behind their backs. Did I ask? Hey, screw you, guy. He raises his chin and starts to twist his wrists, spinning his weapon slowly. No city folk will tell us what you think. Take a good look around while you can. White Marshes isn't for strangers. This is some Lovecraftian setup. Next thing we know, there's a cult trying to sacrifice me to the old gods. The turf houses are old, covered with lush grasses and flowers. You can't imagine any large family fitting inside a small, one-chambered huts. Their alleys are so narrow that only one cart could squeeze through them at once. Your boots have sunk into the mud. The square is covered with deep boot prints. The noise of hammers, shouting, wood splitting, and the shuffling of undead legs pierces through the constant buzzing of insects. Hoofy McHoofface snorts, hunting down flies with its tail. I notice that there's only one elder in sight, and he's observing me. He is standing on top of a wooden platform by the building that's unlike any other in the village. His eyes are keen. The left one is dark, the right one is grey, bright. His head and face are shaved, and his simple undyed robe is even worse shape than the outfits of his town's tribesfolk. I wonder if that's a necromancer. Once Helvius realizes what you're looking at, he lowers his weapon and clears his throat, like a boy caught red-handed. The elder walks away, holding a walking stick with one hand, and touching a wall with the other. Orientus, says the mayor, the priest of our fellowship and the one who saved our people. He raises his hand, pointing at the dead shells bustling around the construction site. Let's see, I would like to speak to Orientus. He's probably not gonna be too friendly about me poking around this town, though. Let's see, don't bother, you speak with Orientus. Learn more about White Marshes. Is Asterion around? Let's ask about that guy. Huh? Why would he be? You pay attention to his confident stance and the strong voice. With his usual hint of disdain and spot of no sign of lie. He's hardly ever been here. I've no need of wardens. Alright. Good enough. The people of Old Pagos are fighting a plague. Fuck! He looks at the dark clouds and sighs. Who? Kids? Elders? While you speak, the nearby villagers stop their work and even the undead are told to freeze in place, offering your ears a bit of relief. You answer a lot of questions, making the muddy square even more grim. You hear someone weeping, and a young woman announcing, "It's not fair, even for them." The mayor nods in agreement, keeping the axe on his shoulders. "I'll tell Orientius. From now on, we'll gather our wood chips and twigs in a shed." He raises his voice, looking into the tribe's eyes. "We may have enough for them before winter." Oh, that's nice that they're willing to help, so it's not like they're some sort of reclusive cultist that just work with their undead workers and never let anyone in. "Were you recently bothered by any highwaymen?" He reaches for his hair so quickly that it makes you flinch, but then scratches his head quietly. "And if so, we deal with them on our own, without some warden's help." You say you know nothing about Asterion, but people claim he had strong ties with your tribe. Helvius begins swinging his axe left and right, the heel of the haft now resting in the mud, trying to recall the past. He makes a puzzled frown. "Know what? I was told he met with our warlock often. Who knows why? Ask him if you must." Huh. Interesting. Warlock being Tharsis, I suppose? Or does he mean Orientius? He might be a priest, but he also might be a warlock. According to what an old Druid told me, the highwaymen bother you with much more severity than you led me to believe. So you're bothering other people with these questions as well. A priest lock, yeah, maybe he's abandoned his faith, or maybe his god has fallen into a demon. Who knows? But we'll have to see who it is. Kiki, you're on my desk. I hope you're not gonna press any buttons and accidentally shut something down. Yeah, let's ask about the dead people everywhere. I used to listen to stories about them as a kid. He nods for you to follow him. But wrenches taught me they're not different than boars in fire. He dashes forward and swings his poleaxe, bashing a skeleton's shoulder. The arm sticks into the mud, while its owner, a bit awkwardly now, keeps trying to climb up a ladder. That's a bit of a jerk move, even if that's a dead guy. Now he can't use both arms to work. Helvius bursts into laughter. And the locals look away without a word. "See?" he continues, leading you back into the well. "All he needs control. Look there." He points at a dead shell with remains of flesh on its chest and head. "There's a white and brown sparrow sitting on its shoulder, preening its feathers. Even beasts know they've got not a thing to worry about. The Awoken are now like they were yesterday, like they were in spring, like they were a year ago. Leave nothing worrying about them to idiots and unites." Yeah, I suppose the United Church doesn't exactly like the undead. I hear what you say about the Awoken, but your tribe used to be strong without them. So what, Warden? That what was 10 years ago isn't what it is. What isn't doesn't matter. We need to trade, yet the others pushed us away. We won't let them choose for us ever again. Shall we trade with you then? We need what we have, but I'll take a look at what you're bringing if you seek bones. He glances at an undead. The quarrels. Not this time. I'd like to learn more about White Marshes. Don't bother both us and yourself. The tribe isn't taking the bogs for 5 generations, but the fields. He moves toward the gate as if you had no opportunity to see them before. Are from a few seasons ago, thanks to Laurentius. We used to live on berries and meat, selling peat and timber, but soon we'll need no outsiders. After all these years of feeding our blood to saurians, leeches and merchants, better days are coming. We made them come, and we deserve them. He fondly wipes his blade with his thumb, and clears his throat, if the right allows. So they're not exactly a creepy, dumpy village that isolates itself from everybody, but they want to become a creepy village that isolates itself from everybody. Cool. And I'm sure they won't totally start killing people for the labor at some point in the future. What a lovely place this is. So you want to separate yourself from the other settlements? The tribes with little iron and bones struggle one more and more. We're getting ready to welcome plunderers the way they deserved, so our palisade wasn't enough, all this. He waves at the wall and his voice is full of pride. Was built in not even 2 years, can you believe? Yeah, I'm sure when you have an untiring undead workforce, you can do work pretty quickly. You glance at a yellowish skeleton that carries 2 large rocks, each too large for any human to lift on their own. You used to sell wood, correct? He nods in approval. In the old days, our firewood warmed up all walls and those at the side of the Fahag Hills. Bogale Rocks in the far north built its own hamlet for woodcutters, and howlers then grew a fine garden for themselves, just to get by without us. They have oaks, cherries, and their own darker birches. Have no more reason to trade with us, other than peat. You glance at the buildings. While they are indeed new, most settlements in the province would view them as crude and cramped. I would like to speak with Laurentius. As he straightens up, the moose head on his chest bounces enthusiastically. You and many others, but he's swamped by his work, and we've enough threats in the shadows already. If he decides you're trustworthy, he may speak with you once. But why would I even ask him? Wow, that's just rude. You come into this guy's village that's prospering by the labor of the undead and, just go and kill all of them. Burn them. Destroy your village's livelihood. What you hear writes well. I need his guidance. Then seek fortune tellers and scholars. We've our own struggles to solve before we start leading outsiders. Yes, this guy also doesn't trust me. Farewell. I trust the cards. You looking to get married? One of the undead workers drops a basket of foraged cranberries and leaves. Maybe because its shell is too weak, or maybe because it received a poorly phrased order. It then stays still, waiting for further instructions. These undead don't seem to be very versatile. As the guards, people from the other tribes are looking for spouses. The taller gatekeeper gives you a long look. We need no matchmaker here. Our youths work to do. Only then they're free to go wherever they want. After you ask the village is open to invite new dwellers, he snorts. You think they're gonna move to the village of the dead? Good joke. I asked the guards if there's a room I could rent for the night. I guess. One of them sighs and tells you to wait where you're standing. After a few minutes, a group of locals approaches a more neglected turf house and starts to empty it. They take out old crates, rags, casks, bricks, then leave them by the outer wall, at least for now. It's an old shed, explains the guard. There won't be bother there. You won't bother anyone. We'll be ready before you need it. Cool. I observe the undead workers. Not being allowed to leave the main square, you observe the shells walking through the gate or helping the builders at the wall. The skeletons are not at all complete. Some of them lack a rib, a foot, or a jaw. Many of their bones are cracked or broken, and seem to be connected to each other with nothing at all, as if the pneuma that keeps them moving knows which parts should stay firm and which ones should twist or bend. Those that keep some of their skin and guts don't smell, rot, or bleed, and make you think of dried meat. It's if these scraps of flesh serve no purpose, and seeing how many of these laborers already have great holes in their stomach, or little ribs, or limbs with revealed bones, it could be that they are just in the middle of the process of becoming like their naked counterparts. I suppose they don't so much as rot as they just kind of fall apart. Huh, interesting. The undead loyally fulfill their task. So far, you've counted 5 people able to give them orders. Some do so by speaking out loud, while one woman simply look at a shell, no matter how far it is. The workers, while witless, maintain some sort of carefulness in their actions. They stop when someone gets in their way, and use tools if they know how, avoiding pointless harm to their shells. There may be more than 50 creatures spread across and around the village, but you can't know how many you haven't seen yet. Many of the fresher undead are elders. Among the skeletons, you spot some that used to belong to children, but none to infants. That's just morbid. Let's see. Maybe they're so different from adult humans that they can't be awoken. Maybe their shells are too weak to work or too dumb to listen to orders. Maybe such young shells are a difficult sight even for the locals. A group of young children is sitting in a circle being taught by a teenager how to carve a bone. They're skinny, and one of them is sobbing. Approach the well. The locals observe your acts carefully while you're drawing the water. After you quench your thirst, you try to wash your face and neck, but one of the older women approaches you quickly, wagging her finger. We've not huffed for this silliness. She rebukes you. Water your horse if you have to, but we need the rest for ourselves. The stern gaze of the other villagers leaves you no room for discussion. And this is not a very welcoming place. I might just leave. Map. I suppose this is a bit of a dead end. Where else can I go from here? Farewell. I could travel there, past Gale Rocks. Creeks is also a dead end, or I could go all the way that way. Let's travel to the creepers again and see if I can... As you ride past the fields, one of the local farmers enters the road, gesturing for you to stop. He's holding a rusty sickle and carries a basket on his back, filled with various weeds and a sharpened club. His patched, worn tunic is neglected, but fitting for a farmer. The lean years left his face skinny and his teeth crooked, but his sad eyes hold no heartwarming kindness. Hi there, Warden. He has a thick local accent. I've been wondering just now. There's a small matter, you see. Do you know how to read? I used to be a scholar. Fantastic. It gives you a radiant smile. Give me a few moments. Without waiting for your response, he runs to the village and returns to you with a small sack in his hands. Would you take a look at it? He unwraps the package and reveals a large wax tablet made of bone. It's a letter from someone I care about, but I'm not sure what it says. I'll give you a coin once you read it for me. You take the tablet from his open palm. It's fancy, unlike the wooden ones. On its back, you find an engraving portraying a large furry beast. Made for Troll Zip, the farmer says proudly. You examine the constant deep signs written on the wax. The letter is short. Valens, it starts. Couldn't bear another day in this night village, but now I don't have to. I met another soul during my hunting trip south. We'll start a new family. Goodbye. No signature. The man is walking in place, waiting for you to speak. There are some letters here I can't decipher. I better... That's a... That's a pretty tablet. I know what's in the letter. He puts a hand on his forehead. You can't tell if it's a sign of relief or tension. The letters are too distorted, no one could read what's in there. Well, I already told him I know, so this isn't a good thing to say. I repeat to him his husband's words. At first, he freezes, then gives a hateful look toward Orentius' hut. I know what this piece of shit did, he growls. He always has to be heard, only to spread lies. Why do I need to find a stranger to hear the truth for once in my life? His eyes get gentler once he looks at you, but once you notice the tears in his eyes, his shaking hands offer you the reward. Now how about the tablet? Here you go. I don't want it. He steps away. You know what? Take this. He pulls out a bone stylus that perfectly matches the colors of the tablet. Together, they will buy you a few meals at the trader's stall. Good luck, Warden. Oh. I have a stylus. Maybe I can use it to write something. That might be useful. Farewell. The shuffling gait of an undead still covered with flesh makes all the other sounds weirdly quiet. You notice a skinny woman with a blue headscarf. She stares at your mount like a wolf and at an elk. I approach the woman who observes the Hoofy McHoof face. She moves away but meets your eyes and makes a smile-like grimace. Then leads you behind the empty animal pen, away from the guard's ears. Her grey hair, mostly covered, is deceiving. She's no older than 30, yet her face is marked by insect bites and pustule scars. She takes confident steps, even though she wears muddy foot wraps without boots and a worn simple skirt. She squeezes the front of her scarf on her chest, shaping it into something like a short, hooded cloak. A warden, I heard. She answers your nod by pursing her lips. I need you to ride somewhere for me. Tell me. Far away from here, at the eastern road, there's an old bridge made of a single rock. She doesn't look away from even a single heartbeat. Her gaunt face is pale and makes her large, grey eyes look as if something took their color away. Beneath it, there's a rock. And beneath the rock, a purse with my savings. Bring it to me. Before you mention your reward, she starts to speak faster, giving the men at the gate a nervous glance. Half of what you'll find is yours. Bring to me the rest. That sounds good to me. Rock. Let's see. Far away here at the eastern road. I hope I didn't already steal it. How much should be there? 20 bones if that's that old fool then tried to scam me? She takes a deep breath. Half it's more than worth the effort. Seeing the curious looks of the guards, she shakes her head and leaves you to yourself as she passes by a flesh-bearing undead. Okay. 20 bones, you say? Far east on Eastern Road. And the rock made out of single piece. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. Can I pick the mushrooms yet? Nope. Let's go talk to this asshole again, cause he told me he didn't really know much about where Asterion's located. No, my stream crashed. It's been a little while now, but hopefully it wasn't too long that I was gone. It was extra annoying that my stream crashed because my OBS didn't actually tell me my stream was broken until my viewership count dropped to 0 for some reason. And I had to check my stream to see what happened. So that was annoying. Thanks, OBS, you piece of crap software. Do you know anything about Asterion's whereabouts? He raises his chin. Know what? I may. His amulets rattle after his triumphant announcement. The answer... Oh, did you not hear what the favorite anime thing that you asked? But then he looks at the clouds at the distance. You wait for him to carry on to no avail. So, what do you want? He flinches. Huh? Nah, not a thing. He shifts from foot to foot. Was just thinking, it's all. Where is he then? Well, not at my place for sure. Oh, I said girl's last tour. Give that a watch. I think that's probably the favorite thing I've seen in recent memory, at least, because I have seen quite a lot of animes in my time, and it would be difficult to pick out the absolute favorite one if I had to think of it. To prove his point, he raises one of his creepers and opens the door through from where you're sitting. You see mostly the cold fireplace and the darkness behind it. But you do have an idea where I can look for him. Yup. At the monster's lair, most likely. Girl's last tour. Hold on. More favorite. Mushishi is one. Mushishi. There you go. What else? What else? Planet S. This one. What else? Little Witch Academia. That one's fantastic. Anything from Studio Trigger, really. Mob Psycho 100, I quite like that one. There's a lot of stuff. A monster lair. Lovely. I'm great at fighting monsters. That always goes well for me. You alright? Great, you're very helpful. Any monster in particular? Stop treating me like an idiot. Tell me what you know. He looks away and reaches for one of his bracelets. He asked me for help with many. Was heading for a journey, he said. Needed bogey bombs to scare animals away. You push him a bit, but he doesn't have to think long, as if these questions have been bothering him for the entire season. Weirdest one were the harpies, and he wanted ones for sea monsters, but I've no such things. I cannot poison the sea. As you think what you make of all of it, he starts to tap his toes, taking a deep breath. There's a huntress living in Pell to the north. This inn at the southern road. Dalit. Asterion said she knows wild beasts like no other soul, so he was prepared for them anyway. Huh. So I need to go and look for animal dens. Okay. What do you think of him? He stands with an open mouth as if he's not sure what you mean by that. I don't. Left me with a heavier pouch, but ask nosy questions. Like someone else I know. He gives you a telling look. DNA recombinant? Is that when DNA in the process of splitting exchanges portions of it between the two new daughter cells, and then they split into sex cells? Is that what you mean? Like between identical chromosomes. Like for example when a sperm cell forms. You get a cell split up. It's the two new daughter cells with one copy of chromosome each. Well, before they split up, mix up their random sections so they're slightly different, and then they split into new cells. My brain's a bit tired to explain it properly. Is he your client, or do you share a goal? He crosses his arms, making the creepers hit his amulets. E. coli? Do you mean when bacteria take in external DNA and combine it with theirs, and then that's how they may adapt to some sort of environment that they are in? Never had a witch or a warlock at home? It's wrong for me to speak for others. I'll take on my pyre a lot of shame and doubt, and I need to be trusted. People claim that he and your tribe are planning something big. Do you deny that? He rolls his eyes, struggling his arms and showing his empty palms. The nerveless twitches of creepers add little to his innocent demeanor. He and I traded a few times, but I didn't better him or offer him mint and stew. He said he may have a job for me in the woods, and I told him I don't need his bones anymore. In the woods? Okay. When asked what he did need, Thyrsus purses his lips. I want things to change, so I wake up to woken shells in the fogs and glorious robbers threatening my family. All I want for this cursed land to be normal. His yawn comes out of nowhere, but then you notice his dropped shoulders and heavy eyelids. Yep, that warden told me he's going to take care of it. That's ominous. Thanks. He stares into the distance, rubbing his amulets with his fingers. Let's say I were to help your people with the bandits and got rid of the undead. Would you return the favor? Do I want you get rid of the undead? They're not doing any harm in that village. Are you telling me you're wardening the bogs because you wanted to do so? You refuse to accept the new order of things, these necromantic practices. He sits down on the bench. Do I care who made me leave the walls? Laurentius didn't want me there, but didn't want to stay. To stop him now, you'd need a band, and I'll tear off your head sooner than I'd bring a threat to my tribe. You reach towards your blade, but the creepers remain idle. You're stepping into a tree's branch. Seeing you frown, he continues. Their grasps even tighter the more you move, you see? Forget it. He waves it off. Why do you care about any of that? Let my people choose their path. Tribes becoming outcasts. The dead shelves the search for rest. They're being enslaved. I don't think they're actually sapient, so... Or, like, actually contain anything of the person that was dead. Appealing to his morals might be weird. Your tribe is becoming an outcast. Soon, no merchants want to trade with the necromancers. You speak as if it's a matter of the future, but my tribe accepts the risk. I can't care less. All I want is my tribe's safety, but this means not a thing to Laurentius. He reaches for the broken hourglass in his ear. What's your plan once you get rid of him? You know what? I don't really have a plan. I wouldn't like his motivations. I mean, if his motivations are correct, I might be convinced to actually do something else other than get rid of his undead band. He freezes as if he barely understands what you mean. This is a good first step, but then he needs some persuading, and it won't be as easy as you think. He gives you a warm look, then stands up slowly and looks at the clouds. All I can do is find a way to let you into his house, and you'll have but one chance, if he can convince you to be trusted. Okay, so this is gonna be a sneaking mission. Do I have anything that can convince you? I'd rather not look. Okay, I'll return to this later. Let's say I were to help your people with the bandits and got rid of the undead. Would you return the favor? He spares you a yellow grin. That's all you say? Yep. Save the North, or the scrap that I care about, and I'll follow you into a fog. Alrighty then. Oh, that's that with him for now. What time is it? 8 hours 15 minutes before dusk. Let's go check on these creepers again and see if I can take these mushrooms. Once you cover your hands with protective gloves, you get it done with a swift cut. The bog friend is brown with a few red vertical lines and a cap covered with holes that resemble fish gills. As you're shaking off the soil, you expect the mushroom to be slimy, but the opposite is true. Once cleaned, it resembles a morel, but you know well how poisonous it can get. You wrap it with a cloth and hide it among your bundles. Cool. Let's see, so Gale Rocks is where I need to get the carp that I need to take to the guy in the Elder's Cave, but I don't exactly have a way to carry the carp, do I? I have an old blanket. Not like a... Not like anything else though. I don't have like a bucket or anything. Or a cart. Let's save. Wow, I haven't played this game since December, dang. Okay, so forest garden. That's ready for harvest in a few days, so don't need to be there. Cabin, the creeks. Let's go past Gale Rocks real quick. Let's see. Both Paulus and Marina are looking for a match. I tell Paulus about Timo's conditions. He responds with a smile and warm laughter. And that's all? Of course I'd agree. As long as she teaches me the empire dances or whatever it is they do, tell her I'll arrive with the spring thaw to meet her. His voice lowers suddenly, cut by pain. Without anyone else, I suppose. He's first mentioned the compensation for your service. You're still helping Marina, right? We've already talked to our head woman. She agreed to reward your work once your matchmaking is done. Be sure to meet her then. Cool. Shoshi's message with Marina. Who's Shoshi? Shoshi was like a big lady in that other village, I think. Matchmaking. Okay, so I found that one. Balls from Gale Rocks. Move in with her and her son. Only interested in the right's followers. Her blushing cheeks contrast with the pale skin of her hands. I can't, she says after a longer moment. I thought about our previous conversation, Roadwarden. I'm not ready for such changes. Not just because my son deserves the peace we have now. I'd rather just join a monastery than put pleasure above prayer. You've already matched Paulus. I've heard, she says, without hiding her jealousy. Go and speak with our head woman. She'll reward your help. Okay, so I still need to find somebody for this lady. Okay. Looking for someone. Journal was... I need a fish. Empress Carp. Photios. At the beach. Okay. Let's talk to the head woman. You ascend the hill. The guard stands up and puts woodwork on his pillow, then asks you to wait. You hear his and the head woman's voices coming from the hall, and once a man returns, he nods gently. You're asked to enter. Follow him inside. Severina puts away her writing instruments and sighs, but doesn't say anything. Her violet eyes are absent. I believe Paulus and Marina already talked with you. Right. You worked for us. Now I can tell one of my neighbors you overlooked the usual fees or duties they asked of you. Do you need anyone's help? Free repairs from Mergambuson would be so nice. A boat. Wow. Then I'll speak with Rushvana, the tailor. She's close to the hill we're on. You need to take the path to the left. You'll find her behind the dining tables. Great. The village of Old Pagos is struggling with a plague and isolates itself from trade and travelers. She looks at the perfumed man who's standing with an open mouth. You glance at the crossbowman who has lowered her weapon. The head woman, still without a word, leans forward, and rests her forehead on the back of her hand. Her guard tries to speak, but she looks at him with sorrow. "Let me think," she states after less than a minute. Tells him to gather the council once your meeting is over. I say nothing. She glances at the exit. I'll come back later. I think she doesn't want me here right now. A harpy is circling dangerously low above the village. The guards are running around trying to keep up with it, while the children are being told to hide indoors. Let's talk to the tailor. "Fix my stuff, please. What can you do for me?" A sewing kit? I don't have any sewing experience, and that would be a bit of a waste of time. I think. Unless my clothes are... No, I think my clothes are fine. It's my armor that's busted. 1 out of 3 repairs. Another one. Outfit needs no work. That's just straight up false. I have no loyalty to the right, so I'm not gonna. I will stay true to my pagan faith. Oh, it's almost dusk. And since it's late, I might be able to find the guy, Photios, because I think they come back at night. Photios. You approach a group of workers who are loading barrels onto a cart close to the log-made bridge. "Photios is there," one of them tells you, and points at the tallest man dressed in undyed wool and linen. He's discussing something with a group of workers, but as soon as you head in his direction, he nods for you to join him on the side. His outfit is heavy, appropriately for someone who spends long hours under the hits of the cold onshore winds. The massive leather boots, thick tunic and pants, and the heavy cloak now held under his arm make you wonder if he'd even be able to swim. Probably not the best thing to wear when you're on a boat, huh? Then again, he's probably freeze to death otherwise. Like most sea folk, he has long limbs, almost no facial hair, and ears so flat they're hardly noticeable. His neck draws your eyes. It's covered with marks left by the burning suckers of a sea monster, as wide as your finger is long. Below these scars, he's wearing a pendant made of a fist-sized black beak. He speaks first, with the strong and confident voice of a young man, no older than 25. "We don't really sell any catch on our own. Maybe ask our smokers or the cook." "That's why I was hoping to speak with you." "And who are you exactly?" After you introduce yourself, the man raises a corner of his mouth in an angry grimace. "I won't have much to tell you, Roadwarden. Like my neighbors." He looks at the nearby fishers. "I struggle with day-to-day living. I do not adventures, and even less so outsider schemes. I was sent here by an old druid from the south. He claims that you owe him a male Empress Carp." "What? I owe nothing to that old fool. I can have it here tomorrow if you want, but better have a coin with you. I need to ask someone to look for it with a net, and that will take hours." Do you have any work for me?" "Work? What do you know about fishing?" You mentioned the docks of Havavan, but after a few questions about fishing nets, boats, and winds, it's clear you don't impress in this conversation. Teaching one how to work takes time, effort, and rescuing those who fall overboard. You ain't a kid of ours, so if anything, it should be you who pays us for sharing what our forebears have mastered. You explain that you can fight better than most, and that gives him an idea. Our guards stay at the village, so we almost move in groups. And waste time to securing the beach from harpies and saurians we do. We could put 3 more souls on the boat and keep you on the beach. It guard those not fishing with nets. Yeah. I don't know, I mean, I can fight, but I don't know if I can fight multiple harpies and saurians. What's in it for me? How much do you want, stranger? He responds carefully, and you spend a few minutes discussing the details. Right. You'll get a meal and 2 coins for a peaceful day, another one for putting your life at risk. He summarizes, but you must be at the beach soon after dusk, while we're preparing our boats, and have enough strength to convince me you'll be more of help than a bother. Huh. It's too late. Wait. Before dusk. 2 coins, strange convincing. After dusk. So it's not too late, it's early. Are you sure you don't need help with something that would fit my skills? I spend many hours on the road. It gives you a long look. You know what, outsider? There's something you could do for me. You can't really ruin it by trying. I need you to help my daughter Phoebe. Seeing your look, he raises his hands. Don't worry, she's fine. Merely spellless. For generations, my family used Numa to lure fish and hold our breaths. But no matter how much she practices, she can't even cast the tiniest spell. There's something wrong with her soul. He pauses, and his voice grows pained. She's my only child, and I seek no new wife. I want her to have the choice to do whatever she wants, and it breaks me to think she won't have a way to follow in my footsteps. I don't really know how I can help you. His eyes are absent. A few years ago, our traders were at the home of this weird enchantress by the Eastern Road. I don't know her name. She lives close to the old watchtower. You can't miss it. If she's alive, she may still have these weird rocks. Spirit rocks, I think. They help weakened mages. Buy one, bring it here. Maybe eating some Numa will help Thweeb learn. Eating a rock? That doesn't sound right. What does your daughter think about this? What does she think? He looks at you as if you're mad, and then glances at the nearby fishers. She'd be heartbroken to realize she's spellless. I won't tell her unless I have no other way. She's merely a child. I'm doing what's best for her. What can you tell me about this enchantress? I've only seen her a few times when I was a teenager, though she was also young, I suppose. Tall, not as tall as I am. Smiles briefly, with cold eyes. For the few days she was around, she kept her to herself. People say she's a witch, and a mad one at that. Man, sounds like a lovely personality. Yeah, I forgot to mention my payment. No, let's not do this. It sounds like a very unusual attempt. Are you sure you want to try this? I've asked our sources about that. About what they felt when they used the stones. Their Numa got stronger than on most days, and nothing bad happened to them. We risk for nothing, outsider. He says with growing irritation, and stops himself from scratching the scars on his neck. Have you asked any herbalists, though? Maybe a priest or another enchanter. Have you not heard about her previous Roadwarden, Asterion? You nod. In spring I sent him to one of the greatest mages in the peninsula. Some druid, I think. And that old prick told me there was nothing he could do, you hear that? I paid the messenger to learn this. He squeezes his cloak even tighter to his side. We have no herbalist here, but since the spirit rocks are safe, I'd rather spend my last coins for such a chance than try nothing and regret it. I think what you're asking may be risky. Why would it be? No one has ever been hurt by the previous stones. I've studied many tales, both legends and archives. There is no alchemy that could change the nature of a spellless soul. So now you ain't only a drifter, but also a scholar? If you're so smart, maybe get back to your pens and ink and leave the rest to me. He's a bit of a jerk. I'm not sure I even want to help him. Maybe his daughter is better off growing up and leaving this place. Instead of, I don't know, exploding once I feed her that magic stone. That's all I have to say. See you later. Yeah, it's almost nighttime. I think I'll end the day and see if I wanna play some other game for a bit at least, because my throat's getting a bit hoarse and I'm not quite ready to end stream, but I want to play something else perhaps. I don't have any idea of what though, so we'll have to figure it out. Let's see. Where's the sleep? Let's remove. Actually, let's just do it before sleeping, so I don't have to think about how I want to sleep. There we go. Right. I will take a small break of a few minutes, I think, and I'll be right back. Actually,